Hello, everyone. My name is Yousuf, and today we will be doing the next session in our math series, and we will be talking about multiplication. All right, so let's start. So, our book that we are working from is called How to Be Good at Math. This book is specifically sold in the United States, so you might not find it where you live, but that's what we're here for. We're here to use it and help you guys learn. All right, so let's start off with our first slide, and we're just going to talk about what is multiplication. All right, so can you guys just write in the chat really quickly what you guys think multiplication is? Well, if you were here whenever my dad was talking about it, then you probably know what multiplication is. But multiplication is generally saying just like repeating a number. All right. So here we have the equation 4 times 3. So instead of thinking about it as like, oh, it's an equation 4 times 3, let's think about it as 4 plus 4 plus 4. So 4 3 times. So if you wanted to, you could make it easier on yourself by adding 4 to itself, like writing on a piece of paper, 4 plus 4 plus 4. Okay. And that equals 12. So here we have 3 groups of 4 oranges, 1, 2, 3, 4 in each group. And then we have 3. So we have 4, 8, 12, right? And we can just count all of them on their own. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. And here we have 3 rows of 4 oranges. So we have 1, 2, 3 rows with 1, 2, 3, 4 oranges in each one. And that still equals 12. So we have 4, 8, 12. Okay. So now let's say we flip the numbers. Okay. We flip the 4 and the 3. So instead of 4 times 3, we have 3 times 4. Does that affect it at all? No. If you have 4 times 3, it will still be the same as the equation 3 times 4. They will both equal 12. And here we have a bunch of oranges, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So we still have 12 oranges. Okay. And the answer that you get out of a multiplication equation is called the product. All right. So the answer is 12. Okay. Let's move on. So as we said before, multiplication is repeated addition. And some of you have said multiplication is repeating numbers, which is right. You guys are right. So here we have 5 times 4. Okay. Do you guys know what 5 times 4 is? Can you just type it in the chat? All right, you guys are right. So 5 times 4 does equal 20. Okay. So here we have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows, each with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 apples. Okay. So we can add all of these together and get 5, 10, 15, 20. So in total, we have 20 apples. So 5 times 4 equals 20. So you guys are right. Good job. Let's see. Let's go on to the next one. So multiplication can be used in a lot of different ways. You can use it as just grouping numbers and then adding them to themselves or repeating them. But you can also use multiplication for scaling. Okay. So here we have 3 buildings. Okay. One that is 10 meters tall, one that is 20 meters tall, and one that is 40 meters tall. All right. So every single one of these buildings has something in common. Okay. Do you guys know what that thing is? What do these buildings have in common? You can write it in the chat. Windows, yeah, yeah, okay. But specifically about the number, the height of the building, what do they have in common between those? Because I mean, they all seem like different numbers, but there's something that relates between each of them. Well, here, let me just tell you what they have in common. All right. So, oh yeah, you're right. Okay, all the numbers are in tens. Okay, that's correct. But specifically, what we were looking for is here we have a building that is 10 meters tall, and then we have a building that is 20 meters tall. So these two buildings relate because 10 times 2 equals 20, and 20 times 2 equals 40. So if we're just multiplying each of these buildings, each of the heights by 2, and we get the next building. So we'd get like 40 times 2 equals 80, and so on. All right. So and now we have scaling in fractions. So this one's a bit hard, but I can give you a general explanation. So whenever you're multiplying fractions, there's nothing that you really have to do. Other than just multiply the two top numbers and multiply the two bottom numbers by each other, and then you'd simplify if the number was too big and can be simplified. So, for example, 1 times 1 equals 1, right? And then 4 times 2 equals 8. So 1/4 times 1/2 equals 1/8. Okay, so you just multiply the two bottom numbers together and multiply the two top numbers together. All right. So did you guys understand that? Would you like me to review anything? Okay. All right. All right, then let's move on to the next one. So here we have factor pairs. Okay. Oh, wait, you guys want me to repeat? Okay, hold on. All right. So which part do you want me to repeat? The buildings or the fractions? The fractions? Okay. So here we have the fraction 1/4. Okay, so 1/4 is 1/4. Okay. And then we want to multiply it to the fraction 1/2. So that's 1/2. Okay. And we want to find the answer. So we can find this answer in a really easy way. All right. So we have 1/4 here. Let me write it somewhere. Hold on. We have 1/4 times 1/2. Okay. Here, actually, I'll write it in a better spot. 1/4 times 1/2. Okay. So all we have to do is we multiply these two numbers together. So 1 times 1 equals 1. And then we multiply these two numbers together. All right. So 4 times 2 equals 8. And then we get our answer, 1/8. Okay. Does that help? All right. All right. Awesome. Okay. Let's move on to the next one now. So here we have factor pairs. So factor pairs are the numbers that you can multiply together to get a certain number. Okay. So let's say you want to get the number 1 out of your multiplication. You would have to multiply 1 times 1. Okay. There's nothing else that you can multiply that would equal 1, or there's no other whole number that would equal 1. So 1 times 1 equals 1. Okay. Let's say you wanted to get 2. You would have to multiply 1 times 2 to get 2, because there's no other numbers that you can multiply to get 2. All right. Now let's say you want to get 3. Same thing. You'd have to multiply 1 times 3, because there's no other numbers that you can multiply to get 3. It's only 1 times 3. All right. Now for the first time, we have one that has two factor pairs. Okay, so we have 4. So for this one, you can multiply 4 times 1 and get 4, or you can multiply 2 times 2 and still get 4. All right. Now we have 5. 5 is just 1 times 5, and there's nothing else that you can multiply to get 5. So it's just 1 times 5. 6 again is like 4. It has two factor pairs. So you can multiply 6 times 1 and get 6, or you can multiply 3 times 2 and get 6, because 3 times 3, 6. Just multiply it, double it 2 times, or double it, and you get 6. All right, now we have 7. All right, 1 times 7 equals 7. There's nothing else that you can multiply that equals 7. Okay, now we have 8. All right, so for 8, there's 2 of them. You can multiply 8 times 1 and get 8, or you can multiply 4 times 2 and get 8. All right. Okay. For 9, there's also 2 of them. You can multiply 9 times 1 and get 9, or you can multiply 3 times 3 and get 9, because 3 times 3 is 3, 6, 9. Okay. So for 10, there's also 2 of them. You can multiply 1 by 10 and get 10, or you can multiply 2 and 5. So 5 times 2 and get 10, because 5, 10. 11, there's only one multiple of 11, and that's 1 times 11, and that's how you get to 11. And 12 is the first one where we have 3. So we have 1 times 12 equals 12, 2 times 6 equals 12, and 3 times 4 equals 12. All right, so these are just factor pairs. It's just to tell you which number can add up to which number, like which number can multiplied can add up to each number. All right, so let's move on. So counting on a number line with multiples. Okay, so this one's actually very simple. Okay, so we have 0, all right, and we want to count by 2s. All we'd have to do is add 2 every single time. So 0 plus 2 equals 2. 2 plus 2 equals 4. 4 plus 2 equals 6. 6 plus 2 equals 8. 8 plus 2 equals 10. And you just keep on going like that. 10 plus 2 equals 12. 12 plus 2 equals 14. You just keep going. All right. And so we're going to progressively make it go harder. All right. So 0 plus 3, what does that equal? You can write it in the chat. What does 0 plus 3 equal? Yep, 0 plus 3 equals 3. All right. Now, what does 3 plus 3 equal? Yeah, good job. Okay. 3 plus 3 equals 6. Now, what does 6 plus 3 equal? All right, good job. 6 plus 3 equals 9, and so on. We go 9 plus 3 equals 12. 12 plus 3 equals 15. 15 plus 3 equals 18, and 18 plus 3 equals 21. All right. And these are all multiples too. So 3 times 1 is 3. 3 times 2 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 5 is 15. 3 times 6 is 18. And 3 times 7 is 21. All right. So these are all multiples. So now we're going to go with a bigger number. All right. So here we have 0 plus 6. What is 0 plus 6? All right, good job. 0 plus 6 is 6. All right. So what's 6 plus 6? All right, so 6 plus 6 is 12. All right. So what's 12 plus 6? All right, good job. That's 18. And what's 18 plus 6? All right, good job. That is 24. Okay, so someone said that they don't understand counting with multiples, and that's okay. I'll explain it to you. So counting in multiples, let's use 2 as an example, okay? So 2 times 2 is 4. So counting in multiples, let's go 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20. All right, so how we did that, 2 times 1 equals 2, all right? 2 times 2 equals 4. 2 times 3 equals 6. And you just keep going up by 1. So here, let me try to write it maybe. Maybe that'll help a little bit. Okay, so 2, 4, 6. Let's use these 3 numbers, okay? So we have 2, 4, and 6. All we're doing is we add 2 to 2, which equals 4, and then adding 2 to 4, which equals 6. And that's how you count with multiplication. You just keep on adding that original number to whatever number you have, okay? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14. So here we've added 2 to 6, which equals 8. We've added 2 to 10, which equals, we've added 2 to 8, which equals 10. We've added 2 to 10, which equals 12, and then added 2 to 12, which equals 14. Okay, does that make a little bit more sense? All right, good. Okay, and you can do that same thing with every number. So like, for example, 6, you would add 6 to 6 to get the next number, which would be 12. All right, so you just keep on going like that. Okay, so now let's use a bit of a bigger number. Now we have 8. So skip counting by 8. 0 plus 8 equals 8. Good job. All right, now 8 plus 8 equals 16. All right, good job. And 16 plus 8 equals 24. All right, good job. So you go 8, 16, 24, 32, 40, 48, 56, 64, and just keep on going. All right. Okay, so let's go on to the next one. So this one is just multiplication tables to learn your certain multiplications with different numbers. Okay, so like 1 times 0 equals 0, and so on. So we won't go over this, but you guys can study it. I'll keep it on the screen for a little bit, so when you guys watch the video, you guys can see it. So yeah, let's go on to the next one. Okay, so now we're going with the multiplication grid. Okay, so the multiplication grid is, it might look scary at first, but it's actually really easy. So you have 12 columns and 12 rows. Okay, so you can use these rows and columns to solve multiplication problems. All right, so let's say you want to do 3 times 7. All right, so what you want to do is you want to find 3, which is right here, and you want to find 7. So do you guys know what 3 times 7 is? Can you guys tell me in the chat? All right, you guys are right. So 3 times 7 is 21, okay? And let's see how we can find that using this grid. Okay, so we have 3, and all we want to do is go down 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So whenever we go down 7, we get to 21. It's that easy. Now you have the answer, see? So, and we can do it the other way too, all right? Let's find 7. 7 is right here. So if we go down 3, like down 3 like this, 1, 2, 3, we get 21, just like that. And you asked, why didn't we use the other 3? It's because these 3 have nothing to do with the equation, right? So we have 3 times 7, but we don't have, like, you know, anything. You don't have a 1 or a 2. So you'd focus on the 3 because 3 is the number in the equation. All right. Does that make sense? Okay. So, and if you guys need me to explain anything again, I will gladly explain it for you. All right. So 3 times 7 equals 21. And that's how we use the grid to find that. All right. So let's go to the next one. Okay, so here we have multiplication patterns and strategies. So these are just ways to figure out how to multiply, okay? So to multiply anything by 2, just double the number. So here we have the example 2 times 11. To multiply that by 2, you can just add 11 plus 11, okay? And then you get 22. All right, so if you want to multiply anything by 2 and you don't know how to, you can just add that number to itself. So if you had 6 times 2, you can just add 6 plus 6 and you get the answer, which would be 12. Okay, so now multiplying by 4, okay, you would double the number, add it to itself, and then add it again, double it to itself, or like add it to itself again. All right, so here we have the example 8 times 4. So 8 times 4 equals 32, okay? Because 8 plus 8 is 16, and 16 plus 16 is 32, okay? So you double 8, which equals 16, and then you double 16, which equals 32, okay? Let's move on to the, hold on. Yeah, okay, let's move on to the next one. So now we have times 5. So here we have, it says the ones digit of multiples of 5 follow the pattern 5, 0, 5, 0. Okay, so this is what that means. Whenever you multiply anything by 5, the last digit, the ones digit, will always be either 0 or 5. Okay, because 5, okay, that's the number 5, that's the ones digit. And then 10, the ones digit is 0, because 1, 0. 15, the ones digit is 5. 20, the ones digit is 0. So it keeps on going like that, okay? And it'll never be different. It'll always be like that, okay? And to find the answer, you can multiply the number by 10 and then cut it in half, you know? So like, let's say you had 30, half of 30 is 15, okay? So you just cut it in half, okay? So let's move on to 9. So if you want to multiply anything by 9, you can multiply the number by 10 again, and then subtract the number you were multiplying by, okay? So if that doesn't make sense, let me explain it to you. So we have 9 times 7, all right? So instead of doing 9 times 7, we can do 10 times 7, which would be 70, and then subtract 7 from it. So 10 times 7, and then subtract 7. So we can get the answer to 9 times 7. And that would be 63. Okay. All right. And to multiply 11. So multiplying 11, if you're multiplying it by a number with only one digit, it's actually really easy because anything multiplied by 11, if it's one digit, will just be that number twice. So 4 times 11 is 44. 5 times 11 is 55. 6 times 11 is 66. And it just keeps going like that. So multiplying by 11 is really easy. You can do it without any work, unless you have like a harder number like 12 times 11, which you'd have to work a little bit harder for. Now we have multiplying by 12. Okay, so multiply the original number by 10, then multiply it by 2, and then add them together. Okay, so that might seem a little bit confusing. So let's talk about it. Okay, so we have 10 times 3. Okay, so what we'd want to do first is we want to multiply 12 times 3. Sorry. We have 12 times 3. So what we'd want to do is we want to multiply 10 times 3. Okay, and you guys can write this down if I'm talking too fast. So you can multiply 10 times 3, and then multiply 3 times 2 or 2 times 3, and then add them together. And that would equal 30. And then you add 6. All right. So you can do something like that, and you get the answer 36. Okay. So you'd multiply the original number by 10, then multiply it by 2, and then add the two answers, because 10 times 3 is 30, and 2 times 3 is 6, and 30 plus 6 equals 36, and 12 times 3 equals 36. So it adds up. So these are just ways to make multiplying easier for you. All right. So now we have some multiplication using decimals. Okay. So this is also very easy. Okay. So we have multiplying by 10 specific first. So we have 3.2 and we want to multiply it. Sorry. We want to multiply it by 10. So 3.2 times 10 equals 32. Why? Because we take this decimal point here. Okay. And then we'd move it this way. We'd move it one to the right because we're multiplying by a positive number. So we'd move it one to the right, and then the number would add to 32. It would be 32. Now, let's say we had multiplying by 100. So what is 3.2 times 100? Do you guys know? You can type it in the chat. All right, you're right. So it is 320. Okay, so good job. And then we can do the same thing and multiply it by 1,000. Okay, so what you could do is you could just take 320 and then add an extra zero. So what is 3.2 times 1,000? All right, good job. Yes, it's 3,200. Okay, and you can just keep going. You can make it times 10,000, times 100,000, times a million, and all you'd have to do is just keep adding zeros to the end. Okay. So let's move on to the next one, and I'm pretty sure this is the last one. So here we have 126 times 20. Now this one might look scary. You know, oh, this is a really big number, and you want to multiply it by 20, but we can break it down and make it a lot easier. Okay. So now instead of making 126 times 20, we can make it 126 times 2 times 10, because 2 times 10 is 20. So we just broke that down. So first, let's start off with doing 126 times 2, which equals 252. Now, if that still seems too confusing, you can just add 126 plus 126, and you can still get this answer. Okay. And then next up, what we do is we take 252 and multiply it by 10 to make 2,520. Okay. So you just add a zero to the end. So 126 times 20 equals 2,520. All right. Okay. So thank you all. I hope you all learned something new and enjoyed today's session. And we hope to see you next time.